So, yeah, hello everyone. I'm I'm really happy for starting with this meeting. Um, Meeting again people, very kind and very dear people like Blanca. Many of the people who are not connected, not yet, but will be connected next session probably. So it's a privilege to be part of the project. To have this meeting, this online meeting, could be a good starting point to start to think on these issues. So I think Blanca has already made a wonderful approach to all these issues connected with the main topic. I think you made a wonderful resume or a great approach to the several variables and to the several items and issues within these very complex and very big block of thoughts. So I really love what you did. What you did. So I will try to offer some key points in order to have something like a working agenda. So it does not imply to be something very close, very definitive. So it's just an um, ongoing process, working agenda. So yeah, so my own perspective is not a legal studies perspective. So I'm a political scientist and more on political theory. So I'm just very few words just to introduce myself, but very brief. So I'm teaching political theory and gender studies at the University of Granada. More focused on new masculinities and post-human and non-human animal rights and post-human knowledge. Yeah, so this is my main expertise. So I was just debating and talking with my students about this a couple of hours ago. We were in online class and just 2 hours ago. So I was inviting them to be part of this, to register and to, I don't know if they are going to be online. So, but this is something that probably I have already shared with some of my students. So let me start with this quote by Leslie Feinberg. And the quote says, "We are a movement of masculine females and feminine males, cross-dressers and transsexual men and women and intersexual born on the anatomical sweep between female and male, gender blenders, many other sex and gender varying people, and our significant others. Our lives are proof that sex and gender are much more complex than a delivery room doctor's glance at genitals and can determine." So I think that when thinking on this topic, Blanca was referring to Foucault several times. I think what we are doing is like deconstructing not only gender or sex-gender relations, but we are deconstructing hegemonic discourses, and we are deconstructing the what we have been considered to be the standard or the dominant discourse. So not only just about from a feminist point of view, from a feminist perspective, but even in a more general sense, we are deconstructing the predominant and the dominant discourses. So that's I think that's the key point, the most important thing when thinking and reflecting on talking on these issues. So yeah, this is the book cover from Leslie Feinberg, Transliberation. That is a wonderful book that probably you have already know. So Blanca was referring to Gail Rubin too. this is just to start and to make clear. Probably I was not thinking only on ourselves as a group focus on these topics. I was just trying to offer a brief introduction for many other people. It doesn't mean that I was thinking of an international conference for a lot of people, but not only for a small group of people researching on this. So I don't know if it seems to be, or it sounds very well known. It's already known by most of us, but anyway, so not everybody is coming from a more political theory, philosophical background. So yeah, this is because I was starting with Gail Rubin and this work, Thinking Sex Notes for a Radical Theory of the Politics of Sexuality. So, and the two main ideas here, right? Identity. An identity is not born. Yeah, that's very well known from Simone de Beauvoir. Before Simone de Beauvoir, it's not something that is very connected with the way you were born, but it's much more constructed. It's constructed by performance, by several traditions and customs, or ways of life, and so on. And in the end, what we have is like what is normalized, what is accepted, or more or less accepted by everybody. So identity is not just something that we have understood as a biological fact. So it's at all times it's constructed, is very connected with culture, with discourses, right? So when analyzing identity from a sex gender point of view, we must realize that the idea of gender has been shared, historically constituted. So the production of what we call gender is not only bad what we have accepted or not accepted from a personal point of view, but from a collective point of view, has been the dominant discourse, right? As I said. So, and it's not another thing, right? It's just a way to make another category, and in order to make control of individuals, as many other categories and many other items, as I don't know, professions, or even the concept of race, the concept of ethnicity, the concept of nationality. This is just another way to include another category in order to make control of individuals by institutions, by elites, or by this dominant discourse, whoever is behind this discourse. So this is just very clear, but it is the starting point for many people when teaching on gender studies. So you must put on the table that it's not the same sex and gender and sexuality. And when dealing with all these three concepts, we can understand much better what we can what we want to say when referring to non-binary gender citizenship. So, but yeah, this is just to make clear, but probably almost everybody here already know about this, so we don't need to spend much more time to make a difference between sex, gender, and sexuality. Yeah. So this is everything is very well understood by Gail Rubin's work. Deviations, this important thing. So, but my 2 points, or my main point, there's two main points, right, in my presentation, is why it's important for democracy and why it's important for feminism. That is almost the same question, right? So that feminism cannot be understood outside democratic, or at least a critical approach to democracy, right? Probably it's not this is the right way to say feminism is a democratic thing, a critical approach to democracy. Not every approach to democracy is connected with feminism. Probably liberalism is not such a feminist thing, right? But a critical approach thing is connected with feminism. So this is because it's said that democracy and feminism are connected, and it's almost the same question. So what I have done is to offer some key points to think about. Then this is just put on the table these topics to be debated. So, but in my opinion, to go beyond gender binary conception of citizenship is important, because the first point implies to widen the demos, right? The concept of demos, right? So democracy is about demos, about power, right? But demos is an essential part of democracy. So when going beyond non-binary gender citizenship, we are making the demos wider and stronger. We are making more inclusive people and not exclusive people. So this is not against democracy at all. It is reinforcing the idea of democracy when you are widening the demos, right? Gender equality, no discrimination, more inclusive conception. So I will be a little bit more specific about this in a couple of minutes, right? So the second point is the cosmopolitan democracy. Going beyond non-binary gender citizenship implies to have some kind of solidarity with other people, those who are born or become more vulnerable due to the sexual and identity options they adopt, right? So this is not democracy. It cannot be a national democracy. From a political theory or a critical political perspective, cannot be only national. Democracy implies to be some kind of cosmopolitan. I'm not saying globalized. I'm saying cosmopolitan. That is another thing, right? Following the Martha Nussbaum's works, that is not the only ones, but they could work. They could help to understand better, right? So, and my third point is it's an important thing because democracy is about pleasure, right? And the dominant discourse is mainly focused on that is very coming from Foucault, right? This is not the idea of pleasure, the idea of sexuality, the idea of the dominant discourse is also about controlling sexuality, about controlling pleasure, about controlling the idea of having sex, the idea of having interpersonal relationships. So going beyond binary gender citizenship is a good thing. It's a good thing because it's connected with the idea of offering a more pleasant conception of democracy. That is an important thing. Democracy is not only about norms and rules or institutions or procedures or so on, right? Democracy is about everyday life, and it's about choices, about options, right? Private options too. So pleasure is part of our lives. So in this sense, I think this is my point of view, to have a wider conception of citizenship, going beyond a very concrete binary gender conception is a good thing for democracy. It's a good thing for pleasure, right? My last 2 points are connected with some of my more recent research on that is coming from. Blanca already knows about my background. It's more connected with anti-speciesism, the idea of the human beings are just only one part. This not only it's not the most important part. I'm quite against the human being supremacy in nature. We are just, if we pay attention, we are not just but and a very small part of the greater nature. So the idea of thinking as humans, but we can escape from our biological fat, but thinking as humans, but thinking and going post-human, not only about ourselves as the very reference, the very central reference, but thinking about other sentient beings, about other realities, about a very different and alternative ways of being on the earth, right? So the case of critical post-humanities, following this post-human knowledge, this the last book by Rossi Braidotti, I think is an important thing to be more inclusive, to add more and different and diverse subjects. And when I say subjects, I'm not referring only to issues or topics. I'm referring to different ways to be a human being. Yeah. So this is my point, following Braidotti's works. So and the last one is a very fresh book by Jenny Klima, Democracy Facing New Realities. And the title is very nice, and the book is also wonderful. Seth Robertson, vegan meat, adventures at the frontier of birth, food, and sex of death, right? So I think most of the times we are very center. We have like a very specific patterns when thinking. To some point, to some extent, we need to destroy them and to think and with imagination, not only with something that exists in real life, but we could think about future in many different ways. So I think there is a connection with democracy, and I think there is a connection with non-binary gender citizenship. Yeah. So this is the Braidotti's book, last book. Yeah, this is the book I was referring, Seth Robertson, Vegan Meat. Yeah, yeah. The other point, and this is connected with my former point on what is important for democracy. So I think that I think that queer theory or non-binary in general, non-binary gender citizenship leads us, drive us to investigate, to research the plurality of masculinity and feminities, and of a wide range of ways of living our lives. So the idea is deconstruction again, right? So, but not only sex, not only gender, even design. That is connected with pleasure, right? So I don't know if it sounds a strange thing, but because sex and gender have been very well defined historically, designed from a political and ideological point of view, I think that the place where you find design and pleasure is like a free space to think. It's much more natural, it's much more biological, and is less designed or culturally designed. So I think that we can find on design and pleasure the way to think on the plurality, on diversity, on the different ways to feel ourselves, to think about ourselves, and of course to design any kind of citizenship, right? So the idea is like a queer theory also encourages us to focus on the utopia of a gender-free world. That is the last point. Yeah, this is by Kate Borstein. That is another important and very interesting thing. So why should be important for feminism? Well, why is important for feminism? Blanca was referring to feminism and say, well, this is about the conference and the project is about, from a legal perspective, a sociological one, a medical one, whatever, but it's about feminism too, right? So why is it important for feminism? And this is an open question, right? And a very, very controversial question. Of course, I think that this kind of research is part of the feminist agenda, should be part of this. So because of feminism is about intersectionality, so we cannot avoid it. So, and feminism, when it's not intersectional, it's not really, it's just it's to some point is following some kind of oppressive pattern. It's not showing the real picture of life. So, but as you already know, this is a controversial, this is an open debate among feminist people about if queer theory or if non-binary gender positions are part of the feminist studies, should be part of this. So I'm not going to be more in depth within this debate, but just a few words. I think that this is not an opposition, should be part of feminism. And when following some people's work as Foucault, Sedgwick, or Judith Butler, whatever, we realize that feminism should be intersectional in the way that I'm going to show you in a few minutes with some figures. So when feminism is not about intersectionality, is accepting an axioma that is very oppressive. The idea of once you were born as a woman implies that you are a feminist person, or you can become a feminist person, and everything is about our conflict and an opposition in between men and women. That is a very, very thing, a very narrow narrative, a very narrow discourse about what is happening. This is not a real thing. Feminism is much more complex. It's connecting women, but men, and not exactly women and men, other ways of determine ourselves. And I think the key concept is oppression. Once you can identify the oppression, you should feel that you are part of feminist agenda, right? So this is very, very well accepted by many people in feminism, but it's not fully, it's not absolutely accepted. This is it's still not in debate, right? So this sounds this clear key reference. So when connecting democracy, feminism, non-binary, gender, citizenship, I think we have three items for further discussion of for further research. This is going to be my working agenda within the project, right? So the first point is against gender social exclusion. The second is in favor of degendering, right? The third task is to make things clear in favor of intersectionality. That's my working agenda for my main task within the project. Right? Probably we are sharing this task, right? So I'm very, very, very brief, because probably I'm not taking account the timing, but I have 2 or 3 more minutes or 4 minutes. Yeah. So very, very brief. And so we have very specific ways of social exclusion of gender and sexual minorities. This is following the great book by Julia Monroe. We have a lot of work when researching on language, on bureaucracy, economic exclusion, social space violence abuse, legislation, medicine. Blanca was referring to many of these fields with the social exclusion spaces, right, when referring to these gender and sexual minorities, relationships in the family, education, mass media, the penal system, and so on. So every specific field has a lot of work for researching. We can find a lot of empirical evidence about social exclusion. So social exclusion is about democracy, right? This is the main link. If we are accepting that social exclusion is part of democracy, we have a big problem. Democracy shouldn't be about exclusion. Should be more about inclusion. It should be about integration. Should be about about accepting diversity. So when approaching to social exclusion is a problem for democracy itself. Yeah. So this is a diagram from a figure from Monroe too, that is trying to offer an overview of what she calls the revised gender system, right? So I'm not gonna be more specific about this. That could be useful and helpful in order to make further research about degendering process. So when degendering process, we should have into account very specific conditions and very specific situations. So Monroe is offering, I think, a very interesting picture about what we can find. But probably this is an on process. This is an on-process system, right? So we can include many other situations if you think that should be included. And yeah, and my last point is about intersectionality. That is the stronger point when connecting democracy, feminism, non-exclusive gender citizenship, right? So this is also very well known in critical studies, the intersectionality from probably Black feminist side, from decolonizing studies and so on, right? So I think this figure is much better. This is my favorite one, when you have, because this is not about the intersectionality is not just offering a different spheres where you can find oppressive relationships, but this figure is much more concrete and talks about domination, talks about the privilege, and talk about oppression and resistance. Of course, depression, but resistance at the same time. So on the top, you have what is considered to be the standard, the straight way, the mainstream point, the naturalized, the well accepted, and so on, right? From the male, masculine, female, and feminine, right? What we call genderism. Then we could call about androcentrism, that is very important for anti-speciesist studies, yeah, and non-human animal rights and so on, right? But you can also include many other situations, an oppressive present situation like racism, Eurocentrism, heterosexism, ableism, educationalism, ageism, and so on, right? So, and at the bottom you have on the B side, right? That is at the bottom, right? That's very significant, right? Below this you have what is considered to be non-standardized, non-accepted, deviant, or non-naturals at some point, so pathological and so on, right? That is, if you follow the same line, you can find that genderism, male and masculine, female and feminine. If you continue the line, you go to gender deviant, or when you have the male, the patriarchal word, male focused, what you have on the other side, on the other pole is female. When you have white supremacy, racism, what you have on the opposite side, on the opposite pole is people of color, and so on, right? The idea of binary genderism is the opposite, is to accept sexual diversity, that is lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transsexuality, and so on, right? So I think but this is not just about to go and to focus, in our case, to the idea of genderism, binarism, and then we should go to the opposite pole. I think that everything is connected. So I mean, at least from my point of view, I think we cannot make an attempt to research and to understand the situation if we are not putting everything together in interaction. So this is not just about gender itself. It's much more complex. It's connected with a social class. It's connected with racism. It's connected with even with the what we could call body fascism, that is the unattractive, the idea of representing bodies in mass media. Is connected with the Western population, the non-Western, on even the what we could call even the Anglophones people, the people who are using international language as we are using right now, English, right, as a way to understand each other, or to communicate, or to be able to understand other people from other countries. So we are using English as a reference. But this is my last point, right? I'm just finishing, right? I really love some of Martha Nussbaum's work, but my point with her is like she's talking about cosmopolitanism when she is a rich person, or almost a rich person. It depends on what you consider as rich thing. Rich person, right? So she is from the United States of America. She is traveling because of academic reasons. She is using English as a standard language, and they say, well, I'm going to be to Lithuania, or I'm going to be to Thailand, we'll be using English. So why not to use another language, a native language, not only an official national language, but a native language? So my point is like we are using and accepting references at all times. So trying to escape from them is an important task in order to understand and to make further research on this topic. Yeah, so this is my my presentation of some of my key points. So I'm sorry, but I don't know if it's a little bit messy, or this is not very well connected, but could be work as a ongoing process and a working agenda for us, right? So thanks a lot. Thank you.